Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to a very special holiday episode of Action Sunday. And of course, by the time this video is dropping, President Day me will be having a Christmas Day feast with his wife. So yeah, there's that. So I want to get this out before it's too late. So I mentioned last week I wanted to review one more movie that features Dolph Lundgren, or one movie that's also a bit of one of my personal favorites. If you guys have followed me on this channel before, and that's Rocky IV. And now I know this is where we're going to go into the debate: is Rocky really a Christmas movie or is it not a movie? Well, let's see. I'm going to say yes, it is, because if you think about it, folks, the final act, the big fight that the entire story builds up to, takes place on Christmas, and also it's super appropriate because the entire montage and training thing, it's all outside. It's all winter. There's Rocky running in the snow and doing all this great stuff. So with all that aside, that's kind of puts over the top for me. But another couple of reasons that puts over the top for me, and why one of my favorite is, one, it's set in the greatest decade ever. This means you get hand grenade up your ass. Number two, I don't know if you guys knew about this, but President Reagan actually invited Stallone to Camp David. That way they can watch the movie together. I mean, bet you guys didn't know that. So, which is pretty cool. It's the classic good, it still has the classic ultimate underdog versus the ultimate villain kind of thing. Or in this case, it's, America versus the foreign invader. But I know it seems cliche, but you just gotta look at it because, man, him going up against Ivan Drago, which I fucking love this character. It's like, he's big, he's intimidating, he's jacked up on steroids, and man, Dolph Lundgren took this character and just ran with it. Even though he's not technically Russian. He grew up in in Finland, and all that stuff. But he was so good in this role. It's like he convinced you otherwise that he was a deadly killing machine. And that's what I loved about this. And believe it or not, that fight was just incredible, right? It was just so perfectly choreographed and everything. And that's what, to me, is one of the reasons why I really like this movie. And of course, and another good thing when it comes to any of these movies is, of course, the soundtrack. Hearts on Fire will always be an iconic song, right up there with the Rocky theme and all that good stuff. There's all of that put together, and you got a really good addition to the Rocky franchise. And of course, everyone will say, it's not the best, but here's the thing: if you just take aside the art and stuff, you just focus on some of the underlying tones and just look at it and just be like, yeah, man, Rocky kicks serious ass. And the fact that I don't know if you guys knew about this, there is a video on Cinemassacre.com. Well, shout out to James Rolfe. They actually did a location video of where they shot all the scenes in Russia. They shot out in Montana or Wyoming, where it was. But man, it was so perfect, and it's a very cool, very interesting movie. I think you guys would like it. Go look into it, okay? Not much else I can say. I really enjoyed Rocky IV. Like I said, it becomes a Christmas movie because he says, I want this fight to take place on Christmas. And he actually says, Merry Christmas. There's snow. Like I said, there's the whole training montage in the show. That puts over the top for me. There's a whole lot of good that you can unpack with the movie. And this is one of the most iconic movies of the entire Rocky franchise. It perfectly embodies the spirit of the Cold War. And then, of course, everyone will say, hey, again, I'm going to say this right now: Reagan and Gorbachev, those were the two guys that they put their heart and soul to try. Hey, let's end this tension between this. I could go into a whole book, but I don't want to talk about that. And yeah, just a cool thing is, come on, how can you? Come on, Stallone and Reagan. Just think about that for a moment. Just picture those guys just sitting back, having a blast at Camp David, watching this movie, or just him hanging with the Reagans. I mean, seriously. This is the 80s in a nutshell, all right? So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. For this Christmas review, man, it's not much else I can say. There's a whole lot I can keep talking about, but this is one of my personal favorite movies, one of my personal favorite Rocky movies in general. It's kind of up there, I know, but what about all the other ones? I'm like, let's see. First Rocky is great, okay? Rocky 2, also good. Rocky 3 is fine. we don't talk about Rocky 5, okay? Let's just pretend that one didn't exist because Stallone himself said it sucked. But anyway, if I had to give a Rocky 4 a score, well, let's see, okay? This might be my own personal bias, but it had me thinking for a long time. But I'm going to give Rocky 4 a hard 8, okay? And there's my reasons for it, because like I said, like I mentioned earlier, if you just look at the underlying tones and like all these good themes and the great character development, and you have one of the traditional Rocky formula, and of course add the real life tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, and let's see, and what's also even crazier is that, hey, this is the movie where he met his wife Bridget Nielsen, all that crazy stuff. But yeah, that's another story for another day. But yeah, there's a lot to say about that. Man, again, it's one of my personal favorites. Great, the soundtrack totally kicks. Okay, in fact, I have one of the songs from the soundtrack, and of course, yeah, go just give it a listen. And of course, there's a whole lot. All right, I can talk about. Maybe in the future, maybe I can do like a whole Rocky franchise overview and rank them all, which will also include the Creed movies. So yeah, yes, I am excited for Creed 3. So we'll see where that goes. All right. So that's for today. Happy holidays, everybody. Thumbs up this video, subscribe my channel, and stay tuned for some more awesome and exciting videos.